We have an unusually large studio audience, I think because word got out to film students that some of them are cutting classes to be here today, so we won't show you on camera and keep you out of trouble. My guest tonight is the French filmmaker Jean-Luc Godard, and he is invariably called an enfant terrible, a genius of film. And in his picture Breathless, they always say that it changed the grammar of films. Critics always say that. What they seem to mean by that is that he broke all the accepted rules of movie making. Shots didn't match. Film had what are known as jump cuts. There would be fragmented dialogue, shots taken with a handheld camera that moved occasionally. And yet the result was a very moving experience for moviegoers, filmgoers. And I guess a milepost in the technique of filmmaking, the art of filmmaking. That year was 1959. Since then, Godard has had a prodigious outpouring of unusual, outstanding movies. His new film this year is called Every Man for Himself, and it's still another movie, different from any of his other films, and shows the rapid turnover of style which his fans have come really to associate with the methods of communication of my guest. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome, please, a brilliant filmmaker, Jean-Luc Godard. Mr. Godard, the word comeback has been used about this film. By that, I guess I mean it may be the first, what you might call, commercial feature that you've done in some time. Does that word comeback offend you, or in any way?
Well,
you see it that way?
In a sense, because I never went away. Maybe I was pushed away, and to me, I'd rather say, well, the reverse of comeback. What is it? Come forth? Or go forth?
Or continue.
Just continue going on, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So it isn't in your sense a return to something. The critics, in talking about this, what I've read of the current film, see it as full of despair. It's a word that's come up in 4 out of 5 reviews. Pessimism. Do you see that?
Whose critic were they? I think, were they men or women?
I never notice when I read.
I think they were mainly men because they identify. Well, there is 2 girls, mainly 2 female characters and 1 male character, and I think the men identify more with the men, and because of that, they say it's full of despair. And but since there is a majority of the 2 women, which are absolutely there is no despair in their moves, and I think it's unfair to the movie. Mm-hmm. But I may find an explanation. It's because there is, for the character and for myself as a director of the movie, there was no feeling of complaining about something. Mm-hmm. I didn't. It was not to complain about something, the world, the business, the money, the war in the Middle East, anything. Yeah. There was no complaining in this movie, and because of that, you see real motivation without nothing surrounding it. I mean, motivations in reality. And maybe it's tough to see because you are not used to see that. And so you think there must be some despair or something just because it's tough.
Because the characters aren't complaining, they must have given up.
They're just coping with reality, but no complaining about nothing.
There is a feeling, it's interesting that you said were they men or women, the critics. The women in the film, which I saw, seem to cope, to use your word, better than the men. The man, certainly. The prostitute is resigned to what she does, or she's distanced from it in some way.
I mean, it's hard work, like any kind of work today. Mm-hmm. I mean, even having just a small conversation, a piece about a movie, with such light and such ceremony. I mean, it's kind of hard. It's difficult to be casual and normal. Yeah. And TV is hard. I don't know for the audience, but... So the girls are more casual, yes. And I think women are more natural today than men.
More natural?
Yeah.
Better adjusted, able to endure life better?
I think they have better ideas.
Yeah. Do you, what do they mean when they say you seem more sympathetic to the women in the films?
No, not that. I mean, the male character is my name, and his first name, Paul, is my father's name.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, well, identify a bit with it, and he's a character is a TV producer, I'm a movie producer, so, but I think it's more like a social status. So it was honest for me to give my name in some place of the movie, whether an hotel or whether a character or whether a car, I don't know. Yeah. But the moves and the motivation of the two women, which were two different kind of moves, or maybe the same moves, but two different kind of speed. And the problem with the man, he has no speed. One of the women is going too fast, the other one is going too slow, and the man is just not moving. And then maybe this is the despair.
Uh-huh.
But there is direction with the two other ones. And it's more, and to me, there is more autobiography, you say,
mm-hmm.
in the two women character. I never hesitate in none of my movie, even in the first one with Jean Seebeck. She was an American girl. I gave her my lines. And very often I have problem with the actor because they are obliged to say my lines, not Shakespeare line, not an objective line, but my lines. And very often, because it is women, they object because they feel, but I think I'm just giving the lines to the actor when I think it's right, whether it is a man and or a woman.
What do you do with the actress who says, but a woman wouldn't say that?
Well, now I think maybe if we have a good relationship, maybe a difficult one, but a good, maybe I listen a little more, and maybe I think that my lines are not so good, but maybe there is good enough, and, well, let's work it more, let's study it, and maybe we'll discover something.
So you're not the sort of director who would say, this woman would say it, or wash up and get out?
For example, I always try that, at least, for example, in I wanted because in the call girl business, very often the girl names are not theirs. They're afraid to give their real names. Mm-hmm. So I asked Isabel, do you accept to give your real names, first name Isabel? And the way she's saying it, because it's a real name, we understand it's a real name. She's not like the other girl saying, my name is Marilyn, or Natasha, or Claudia, you know, those kind of fancy names.
Mm-hmm. Shawanda.
Yeah, I mean.
There's another thing I'd like to, that seems to be always said about you, I'd like to hear you talk about, and that is that they always talk about distance, that you keep your characters emotionally distanced, or you keep the audience at a distance intentionally, not too close, not too emotional.
I think much less now. I think I'm coming more closer now. Less distance.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. And maybe if these pictures were fairly successful, I think it's because of that. Mm-hmm. But sometimes, I mean, to look at things, you have to go very far to be, well, to have the possibility of taking a look of it. If you go too close, like in advertising, I mean, you are so close to the products, you don't see anymore. That's why you have to name it, because you don't see nothing. So you just name it. But if you, I mean, sometimes you have to go, even in a love affair, sometimes you have, well, to put some distance to discover the love again. I think in making a movie which has to do with the distance, the way the distance the camera has to be from what you are. Yes. Maybe I